This is a brand new E-Space from Renault, which is in its 6th generation now. I know the E-Space is supposed to be a van, and first of all, it is E-Space and not E-Space, even though I like the E-Space a little bit more, because the E-Space is like that French touch and it just doesn't flow that nice off the tongue, I think. It is no longer in a van variant, but it is now an SUV design. So they've completely changed everything about this car in the 6th generation, apart from its actual features. Because in the inside, you still have 7 seats. You have a shorter car now, which is 13.6 centimeters, but you still actually have more room in the interior, which is cool. And you have a new platform, and all of that and more we're going to tell you in this video. But if you're not the biggest fan of this generation and want to buy a previous one, so it's called the real van version, then we have the fantastic partner for you right here. Car Vertical is the perfect place to check out if you're getting scammed, if you're getting ripped off, or you just want to check the history of your current vehicle. All you have to do is input the VIN number of your car into Car Vertical, and then you can see, for instance, this right here is Renault E-Space, or E-Space, not E-Space, from 2015, where you can see, okay, there's nothing wrong with the odd meter, financial legal status is good, but there has been some damage. Now, if you're going out and trying to buy this car, and then you see he's selling it without any previous accidents, then you can scroll down and you actually have pictures of here. For instance, I'm pretty sure this was at like an auction or from the financial team where there was something that was shown off and they put some pictures on there, and you can see there has been damage. You can see the last mileage. You can see anything about the car that you really need, like vehicle damage. In here you can also see sometimes they give you an estimated repair cost and stuff like that, on also the market value. So if you guys are interested in using Car Vertical, make sure to check it out with our link in the description, or also the code that we have, which is non-stop driving, where you get a 10% discount on your first report. So hopefully you guys do enjoy, and let's get back to the video. Let's start off with the design in the front, where we can first of all see we have the new Renault logo on here, and also a very prominent design. We do have the Esprit Alpine variant, so the most sporty variant, where you get some 20-inch alloy wheels. You get a different design, most of the black designs, just a little bit different. So it's a middle variant. You also have the Techno, and you also have the Iconic one. The Iconic being like the iconic and the most prestige one that you can get. We have a little bit of a design in here which looks very nice, with actually some pass-through pathways in there, like the honeycomb in the middle, and then just some solid bars in there. And in general, a big black bar down here, so not a full LED light going through, but instead we have, for instance, the extra matrix LED lights that we have on here, which are the LED matrix vision from Renault, which do work fairly nice. You get those as an extra option, which doesn't cost you 900 euros. Otherwise, you get adaptive LED standard-wise on the Esprit Alpine variant, and further down also a little bit of a black design in there. On the side, also a lot has changed. Like I said, design-wise, no longer really a van, but more of the SUV design. That is particularly due to the fact that just the customers want an SUV. Like us, we just want more SUVs and we don't want vans. Lots of people who did buy the E-Space wanted a van, and now that is no longer a van, more an SUV. That is obviously due to the fact because of the market change, just like I already told you, which is unfortunate for the people that really want a van, because they might no longer want this one and are going to get the previous generation. So we do have a new CMF-CD platform, that's what it's called, which is going to allow you to get more optimization on the space in the interior. So you do have more space in there, and also up to 32 system features now. The price is also now going to start with the cheapest one, the Techno variant, at 43,500. Then our test vehicle is going to cost you 52,700 euros with all the extras, and the top variant with everything completely maxed out, which is going to be the Iconic variant, 53,440 euros. If you also opt for the 7 or the 5-seater, so you can change between them, it's not going to cost you anything extra or less, which is nice. We do have, with the Esprit Alpine, we have the biggest rims on here, which are going to be these 20-inch alloy wheels, which do look pretty good in my opinion. And there's a little scratch on there, oopsie doopsie. I don't think that was us. And you also have keyless go, so handless go. If you go further away, it's going to lock, and then if you go up close, it should open. It doesn't seem to be closing, so, well. Oh wow, it did! Totally didn't press the button. Wow, that's amazing. So if I approach it now, it should theoretically open. Oh, look at that! That worked first try, that's amazing. So it does open. I know it's worked every time. I don't know why it didn't work now. Maybe because I was in the perimeter the whole time, so that's maybe why. We have the 4Control in here, which we'll talk a little bit more once we're driving. That means all wheels can actually move, which is nice. Roof capacity is also going to be 85 kilograms. You do have 80 or 85, actually I'll blend it in. We do have the black dot windows in the back, and in general a very nice design. Color on here is also going to cost you 1,200 euros extra, which is the like satin Dolomite grey color. So let's talk about the dimensions of the car as well. The car is going to be 4 meters and 72 long, which is 13.6 centimeters shorter than the previous variant. It's also going to lose a total of 3.6 centimeters on the height, which is now at 174 or 164. And then the width of the car without the side mirrors are also going to be 184. The car is also going to weigh at just over 1.6 tons, and you can load it up to 2.258 if I'm not totally mistaken. That is the total load you can get on there, depending on if you get the 4-wheel drive, so the all-wheel drive for the, like, you can steer all of them, it's going to add another 100 kilograms on there. And let's talk about the back design. So we do have a little bit of a spoiler up here, which looks pretty cool. It has like this indent in there, so a little bit of aerodynamic touches. We have the lights on here, which with the Esprit Alpine variant, you also get this like 3D more effect. So if, let's open it. I think I'll close it. There you go. You can see a little bit in there, and you can also see that there. It looks pretty cool. I do like this effect. It is 3D, like, it looks pretty cool. Like, it just looks very cool with the like lights in there. Okay, if I close it now, it doesn't do it again. Espace here, you can see that with also the E in there, which is blue because it is a full hybrid. So all of them are going to be a full hybrid variant now. So a 400 volt battery with a 1.7 kilowatts an hour battery size. Which we'll talk a little bit more once we're driving. Design-wise, down here, black with a little bit of chrome touches down there. In general, it looks fairly decent. We do also have a towing capacity in here of 1.7 for the for the 5-seaters and 1.6 tons for the 5-seater variant. And also, you can on the hook you can put up to 85 kilograms. If we open the trunk, there you go. It does open automatically, which is nice, and you can close it automatically as well if you press that button up here. And with this 7-seater, if we have the dark 2 seats flipped over, it's going to be 159 liters up to 1,740 liters if we flip all of them over. With the 5-seater, you're going to get 581 liters up to 1,818 liters, which is quite a lot, and you can obviously see all the close-ups. We are going to get into the third row in a second, but you do have a little bit of storage space down here as well, so you can flip this out and you can put some stuff in there. We have like our repair kit in there and like tire set in there as well. There's just some styrofoam stuff in there, but it's going to allow you to get a little bit more storage space in there. So let's go and try to go into the back seat, which are going to be the third row. So you can flip this over and then you can move it forward, and you actually get an okay entrance in here, but it's still a fairly high entrance. So for me, not the smoothest entrance. Like I said, I'm 1.80 meters tall. And then if we have this folded over or sit in here, we can move it back. And let's see, until it's in there, it is okay. So for the ground in here, it does move up a little bit, and there's a little hump in the back on the left foot, which is not that nice. So I don't know if you can see it, but down there, there's a big hump in there, which is not that nice. Otherwise, fairly okay in my opinion. The room's actually not that bad, and you're not like twisted in like in the XC90, for instance. You're like a little bit twisted in. You do have 2 cup holders in here, and you actually get 2 USB-Cs on the right side here, which is pretty cool. You don't have to show that. We'll put a close-up in there. But the seats are all fairly comfortable. You can actually move these up, so that's also going to be a little bit nicer for the headrest. So if you're smaller, okay, actually, you can lay down a little bit. If you're alone back here, I can sit in here like this, and it's actually fairly comfortable, I'm not gonna lie. Not that bad, fairly good space. Headroom, yeah, it's okay. My head definitely in the back is gonna move against it, but if you go slug down a little bit, it's okay. Every bump you're gonna hit your head on the top. With the sunroof, it is gonna be a little bit bigger in here as well and feel pretty good. Let's also quickly look at the door on the back here for the quality-wise. Up here, hard plastic. Down here, we have a little bit of this chrome insert, which is pretty cool. Piano black on the door handle. Not the biggest fan of that. And sound system in there. Alcantara styling in there with a little bit of a nice stitching in there for the blue for the Esprit Alpine. Very nice material on here, so like this little fake leather, I'm pretty sure. And some more plastic in there, but feels fairly decent. And down here, all hard plastic. And no inliner in there, so your bottles are going to move around and produce a good amount of noise. Room in the back is also fairly decent. Good amount of leg room adjusted to me in the front, so 1.80 or 5'11". Legs are not going to completely touch grounds with your seat, but still fairly decent. And also the head clearance, or the headroom is a lot. They have changed that with this generation. In the back you get, well, in this row, you get 4.5 centimeters more compared to the previous variant. In the front, 5 centimeters. Quite a lot. And in addition, we do have that panoramic window in here, which is going to cost you 1,100 euros extra. But this is insanely big, and it's a full through, so it doesn't have any bars in there, and it looks very, very nice. In the seats in here, they're also very comfortable. I like them. If you're a little bit bigger, like wide on the side and have a big lats, then they might be very narrow for you because these seats are fairly narrow. So if you're a little bit bigger, they might not be that comfortable. But center is also very nice, so very big in here. The tunnel in the center is also very small, so you can put some stuff in there and you're not going to be interrupted. But it is fairly wide, so it's not high, but it's fairly wide. So your foot room is going to be cramped a little bit. And interesting, you pull this thing as well, and then you flip this over, and then the whole center console flips over, and this is a massive center console. You have 2 cup holders in here, and also a little bit, I really don't know what you put in there, maybe your phone? So you can watch a movie, but like, look at my face. I mean, it's not that comfortable. I don't know what you actually put in here, but yeah. And then you can flip that back over and you get a amount of room. So let's start driving the car, and we can turn it on, and we can obviously turn it on. That's impressive. You can see that we do have like this memory function here, so it does remember if you adjust this, for instance, it's going to show up a message. Okay, do you want to keep that position after a little bit? You can see we can save it, and then it's always going to adjust that to when you get into the car. You can press on that. We do have a massage function on these seats as well. If you press down the button on the side and hold it down, you can see it's going to turn on, which is nice. You don't have it, but you do have electrical seats in there. And quality-wise in the interior, really, really well done. Very nice touches on here. Piano black, they could have changed that. Okay, massage function, I can turn that off. Looks very nice. Multi-sense button for all your different modes. Sport, comfort, eco, personal drive, assistant features. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Very nice touch on the steering wheel here. For the Esprit Alpine, you also get like this... I was about to say French logo, but it is the Alpine stitching in there, different colors, very nice detail, and also a little bit of Alcantara in there, so I would have maybe expected a little bit more Alcantara because it's just down here and you're basically never going to touch down there, which is good for the quality because Alcantara does need changing after a little bit because it just gets a little bit rubbed out. You can see right down there already starting to. Open Art Link system, which is in the most new Renault variants. Very nice. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wirelessly integrated Google system. Works very nice. Climate control still down here. Best combination you can have because you have the physical buttons for that. Nope, that is definitely a thing that they could have changed. That's just the thing that is okay in a Dacia, but in the Renault it's a little bit more high upper class, and that maybe could have been changed because that's for your volume and also your skipping songs. A little bit of storage space down here. Well, not a little bit. You got a lot of storage space in there. Inductive loading space in here as well, which is pretty cool. And this thing is also like a boat control. I like that. 2 USB-Cs, 2 cup holders in there. A little bit of storage space in there. And in general, very good quality. We don't have the Harman Kardon. You could get that with 485 watts. It's going to cost you extra. Quality-wise on the side here is going to be exactly the same as in the front and in there as well. Panoramic window is also massive. And if you want a very nice touch, look at this. Oh, hello. That's pretty cool. I like that. And all piano black. Not the biggest fan, but this panoramic window is just amazing. And also Alcantara on your headrest on there as well. And seats, very comfortable as well. With a little bit more storage space down there as well, where you put your gloves in. Nope. We do also have a full 360-degree camera. You can change between them, so you can also see your tires on the side, which is really nice. Always great when you're parking, and you can also do this. And we're a miniature car compared to is that an E-Class or C-Class? I think it's a C-Class, an older one, which is nice. We do also have all-wheel steering, like I said, so that's going to allow the rear wheels to move by 1 degree, which is going to give you the capabilities of turning your turning radius or tuning down the turning radius from 11.6 down to 10.4 meters, which is fairly or very narrow for this car. And that comes standard with the Esprit Alpine variant as well. I think you can get it optional with the Iconic edition, not the Iconic, with the Techno variant. For the assistance, we have adaptive cruise control, lane keeping, centralization. We also have like the adaptive cruise control also detects the speed signs, so it also slows down for them, and it also, or it's not going to slow down for them, but you can press this button every time it detects a new one, and if you press on it, it's going to adjust it to the speed. So if we put this on set here for a second, right, we got to press on that, and then we can press on set, and then it's going to detect 100, so I press the button and it's going to up it to 100, which is nice. And then it should also detect that there's a narrow or fairly harsh corner coming up, so it should also show us a symbol of that. There you go. And it's going to slow down, so we can go through that a little bit nicer. And I'm not going off the brakes right now, and that worked fairly nicely, so very good. So it's at around 67. Okay, it's slowing down a little bit more now. I wouldn't have personally done that. Okay, I mean, this is a fairly harsh corner, but 55. I mean, yeah, if you want to be safe, that's okay. So you can always keep that on and basically have that. You can also turn it off by just pressing on it again. Blind spot assistance, The surrounding view is not that great because you got big pillars everywhere. You have a very small rear window. You have a big panoramic window, so if there's a satellite crashing onto you, you will notice that. But the windows otherwise are fairly small, so you don't have the greatest surrounding view. But for the 360-degree camera and also your parking assistance, those are obviously going to help you. Otherwise, we do have the Esprit Alpine variant that's going to give us the biggest tires on here, so the 20-inch alloy wheels, which are going to make the ride quality a little bit more uncomfortable because they are just going to be a little bit harsher. But obviously, if you want the Esprit Alpine, you want a little bit more of a sporty car. So that's what you get with those, but they do also look very, very nice. Otherwise, suspension is fairly decent. Allows you to drive fairly good. I drove a total of 400 kilometers yesterday down to Frankfurt, which was fairly comfortable driving the Autobahn, even with the engine, which is only a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder engine, which produces 131 horsepower and 230 newton meters. In combination with the two electric motors, a total of 200 horsepower and 230 newton meters. It is a fairly small engine considering the car that you get and also the price you're paying. The Dacia Jogger, for instance, gets a 4-cylinder, and that car costs half of this car. However, the engine is good. You do have it's not good, but 200 horsepower is completely doable. Top speed of 174, gonna get you from 0 to 100 to 8.8 seconds. And it is fairly comfortable to drive. I was able to drive it very nicely at an average speed of around 120 up to 140, 150. That's what I was cruising at. Fairly good at those speeds and also good in town because if you're driving in town, most of the times you are going to be driving in the EV mode. The consumption that we got in that drive, if I can get that away, was that's the wrong button. There we go. Driving eco. We can see I drove a total, since then, 456 kilometers. And in those 456 kilometers, we have been having an average consumption of 7 liters. The WLTP claims 4.6 up to 4.9. An average speed of almost 80 kilometers. When I was driving on the Autobahn with an average speed of 120, the average consumption was 8.1 liters. But one surprising thing is on here, 128 kilometers of those were in EV mode, which is very nice. And if you're driving on the Autobahn, the recuperations makes the batteries charge up really, really quickly. If I go from the gas now, you can see we're in EV mode and you can see the button, or you can see every single pixel move, and that is fairly quick and it recuperates very quickly. So if you're driving in the city, you can easily use that again. And in that sense, the recuperation and the hybrid system works very nicely because if you're driving in the city, you're most likely almost completely going to drive in the EV mode, which just makes the consumption very, very good in the city. When it comes to the wind noise as well, one thing I did notice on that journey is down here with these windows, or not the windows, but the side mirrors, they produce a lot of wind noise, especially if you're going around 120. That is the main noise. Otherwise, it's isolated fairly well, but that is going to produce a lot of wind noise in general. So with the 6th generation of the Espace, Renault has lost and also won a lot of new customers. The SUV design is obviously what the market is currently wanting, and the van design is something that the market is not wanting that much, so that's why they changed it. I personally love the design. I love the way that they changed the design to look like more as an SUV and look way more modern. I personally wasn't the biggest fan of the previous design from the Espace. I'm not a van person, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. But this really does look a lot better, and I really do like the design of it. It is still very practical. It is still a car that allows you to transport 7 people in there. And for the price, you can't really go wrong with the motor, even though the motor is decent, but just a little bit too small for the car that the price range also offers. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. We'll see you next time, and bye-bye. And make sure to like, subscribe.